Hey, my name is Dan and you are watching Dawn, and I've been asked to bring 3 things that God has taught me in my life. So the first thing I want to do is to share with you a Bible verse that's been really important for me, and then some things that God's taught me in my life. And then I'll offer you a little bit of a time of reflection as we go into a song, for you to just think over some stuff and process some stuff. So in Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 and 6, it says this: "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him and he will make your paths straight." So when I was asked to think about 3 things that God had taught me, this is a verse that came to mind, and it's a verse that actually has been quite a steering verse for me in my life. And the first thing I want to say that God's taught me in my life is that God can use whatever circumstance that you are in to shape you into the person that he's made you to be. God can use whatever circumstance you're in to shape you into the person that he has made you to be. In my life, I haven't done loads of different types of jobs, but I've done some jobs, and at times I felt really like, I felt stuck. I felt like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Things didn't fully make sense. It was kind of like I didn't really understand what was going on in my life at the time. I felt a little bit like I'm surely I'm supposed to be doing more than this. I don't know if you ever felt like that, where I just feel stuck. And this verse was really important for me. It says, "Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding." And the thing is that God can use the circumstances that we're in, whether it be good, whether it be difficult, whether it be bad, whether it be painful. Now, there's some circumstances in our life that we need to leave, but there are some circumstances that God can really move in us. Times in my life I look back, and at the time I thought, this job is like, it's killing me. I don't think it's right. I don't know. And I look back now in my life and go, flip, God completely shaped me in that season of my life. And at the time, I had absolutely no idea. And if I was leaning on my own understanding at that time, I would have gone, you know what? I'm done. Surely I can do something else. But actually, just trusting that God could see things that I couldn't see. I don't know how many times do we ask God for crystal clear clarity before we jump into things. I know in my life I've been going, God, if this is you, I want you to tell me so clearly. But the thing is, if life was completely crystal clear, we wouldn't need faith. We wouldn't need to trust in God. This proverb says, trust in the Lord. Like, don't lean on your own view of things. Trust in God. So God can use whatever circumstance you're in to shape you into the person that he has made you to be, which is encouraging. It means if you're in a situation that's difficult, God can still use it to shape you into who he's made you to be. The second thing is this: if God has placed something within you, then it's his responsibility to take you there, to lead you there, to guide you there in your life. Our responsibility is the obedience to follow him in the everyday steps. This passage says this. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and listen, in all your ways submit to him." That means give over to him. That means God's way is higher than your way. But the thing is, in my life, there are so many times where I felt like God had placed a dream, or God had placed a calling, or God had placed something within me, and I felt like it was my job to get me there. Like, I was looking for the opportunity, I was looking for the break, I was looking for the next thing, maybe that connection, that person, maybe this opportunity, and I was thinking, if I could get that, and then I could get there, and then maybe this thing that I believe God's called me to, maybe then it could happen that way. But if God had placed it within me, if God has called me to something, then it is God's job to lead and guide me and ultimately help me arrive at that place that he's called me to. What's my responsibility? Just keep submitting to him, keep following him. That's why the proverb says, in all your ways. How many times in your life have you tried to manufacture this break or manufacture this thing to get you to where you think you need to be, when really today is all about just submitting to God and following him wherever he leads? And the third thing that I think God has really taught me in my life is this: God's perspective is always bigger than our perspective. God's perspective is always bigger than our perspective. What does this proverb say? It says, in all your ways submit to him and he will make your path straight. I don't know how many times I have said to God, God, I think you should do this now. God, I think you should, and we begin to tell God what he should do. God, I can see this way through, and maybe if this. I want to encourage you this morning, as God has reminded me many times. God's perspective is so much bigger than our perspective. And at times, we try and steal that from God. Like, God, I can see better than you. You know, have you ever been in a conversation with a kid and the kid is convinced of something that is true? You know, I promise you that I saw a flying zebra. And you're like, look, I've been around long enough and zebras don't fly. In fact, I've never seen a zebra in the UK that wasn't in a zoo. Do you get what I mean? Like, when a kid is just adamant, sometimes that is what we do to God. We're so convinced that we are right that we begin to tell God what he should do. I want to encourage you today to rest in the fact that God's perspective is so much bigger than ours. So whatever is you're facing, whatever circumstance that you find yourself in, I want you to remember those things. Is that God can use your circumstance to shape you. That God can actually use the situation you're in to mold you into the person he's made you to be. I want to encourage you and remind you that if God has put something in you, he will lead you and guide you. You just got to be faithful. And I also want to encourage you to rest in the comfort of the knowledge that God already sees things that you cannot see. His view is so much bigger than yours. So here are some reflection points. Are there maybe some areas of your life, maybe some things or some circumstances or situations where you're leaning heavy on your own understanding? Like you're really waiting to see things crystal clear before you're obedient to God, or you're waiting for all the answers before you say yes to God. Are there maybe some areas of your life where you're placing your perspective in a place that's maybe bigger than God's? Like you're saying, God, I know better. And ultimately you're finding yourself just coming up against this feeling of, I can't seem to get a break, can't seem to go anywhere. You know, just to reflect on these moments, are there any places in me where I'm straying away and I actually need to submit to God again? And then I want you to finally reflect on God's goodness and ask him to guide you in whatever situation that you find yourself in. And I promise you today that you will be reminded of how good and how faithful and how committed God is to you. And whatever circumstance you find yourself in, you will find faith and joy and hope rise up in you, because you know God is with you and he will lead you to where you need to be. So those are some reflections today. I hope it's been helpful. I hope whatever circumstance you find yourself in, you can be encouraged. See you soon.
There's a name that levels mountains, calls out highways through the sea. I've seen his power unravel battles right in front of me. There's a faith that stands defiant, sends Goliath to his knees. I've seen his praise unravel shackles right off my feet. Cause that's the power of your name. Just a mention makes a way. Giants falling, strongholds breaking, there is healing. That's the power that I claim. It's the same that wrote the grave. There's no power like the mighty name of Jesus. There's a hope that calls out courage in the furnace unafraid. God now.